A gentleman is moving his sheep around. I lost him. He went down there. I don't want to bother him. Well, hello folks. Hopefully the settings are proper on this now. I should check. I clicked something last time and the video was fucked. Looking good. So today is a crisp, cold, beautiful day. Not as cold as the Northeast in the United States. Oh, I watch ABC News just to see what's going on in the States. It's brief. It doesn't say much. Just kind of the weather and who got killed and some terrorist attack and whatnot. America's strong, baby. But it's cold over there, man. Arctic blast. Whew. I've got a fleece shirt on and a fleece jacket on, and it's cold. But hopefully riding up this hill will warm me up. My fingers are cold. I think it's like 9 degrees. So that's chilly. But happy to be out and about. I had a idea this morning when I woke up I want to write about, which is like, you know, you get older. I still have my health, so I can be youthful. I'm not young. I'll be 70. It's coming. But I got my health, so I can be youthful for now. And I want to take advantage of the youthfulness and give myself a chance to extend the youthfulness for a while longer. Something's gonna get me, but it's so simple, I guess, to extend your youthfulness. You sleep well, eat well, exercise, create some nice relationships, and, you know, things like that. Engage your mind, learn something, keep learning new skills, both the manual dexterity types and the mental types, languages and whatnot. It's all good. No one knows what's packed in your genes, in one's genes. My mom died of polycystic kidney disease. My kidneys are fine, so maybe I dodged that gene. My grandparents lived a long average life. No cancer, died of pneumonia. I don't know all my family history health history because I come from a long line of broken families. And some cads, some womanizers who had offspring with several different women in their lives. You know, my sister does family history stuff, and I've had my genes done through a couple different services to look into that. why not? We can, so why not look into it? And it's interesting, but something's gonna get me. So do the simple things, common sense stuff. Try to maintain my youthfulness. But then I was thinking about knowing what I know now at my age, late 60s, mid 60s. What would I do if I got to go back and spend a week or a month or whatever when I was like, let's say 18 or something? or like a tour from, let's say, 13 to 25. You got a day here, a day there, each of these years as you're maturing. And, you know, not just like taking the tour of my youth and saying, oh shit, was it really like this? Knowing what I know now, I'm an asshole or whatever. Or, oh, I'm so beautiful. I don't know what I think. So you go back in time and you do this tour of your youth, but you can interact with people. And maybe because the interaction is short and we don't know shit about how these multi-universe, multiverse, you know, or going back in time, how it would affect the future. We really don't know. We just speculate. But let's say that it doesn't radically change history much or end the world. There's some stopgaps or measures to prevent that on the tour. But at least for the purpose of your own experience during this time, it's very real to you and could be extremely meaningful. And I was thinking, what would I do with my first kiss girlfriend and the love of my youthful life who broke my heart, and the other girl whose heart I broke, and my parents and my grandparents who were not perfect, but they were not bad. How would I treat them differently in that moment back in time? What would I try to notice or sit with or pay attention to more deeply than I might have when I was younger, because things were moving so quick and you're developing and growing and you have a lot on your plate as a young person? I was just imagining that if you just took that moment and tried to dilate it, slow it down, put it in slow motion, smell it, touch it, feel it, listen to it really deeply, profoundly. You know, how do you feel, young first kiss girlfriend? You know, I know what I feel. I'm all wrapped up in my own feelings about the first kiss and my obsession for you and the passion and all that. But how do you feel, you know? Really try to understand it deeply. And maybe you can't talk about it because she's young like you're young, and she's not on a tour. She's just a young girl. And you're like, how do I learn from her and let her know that I really care and that this is valuable? Because you know what? You don't know it at the time, but it's gone. You grow up. You get old. Ooh, a beautiful hawk, red tail. Oh my God. Sorry, you can't see it. Gorgeous. Big one. So you don't realize that you're gonna die. You're gonna get old. Something's gonna happen to you, you know, at some point in the future. And you will have missed something important. And we can't help it. I mean, you can't go to your child now who's 15 or 18 or whatever and say, hey, think about William T's thought experiment. They're wrapped up in their own worlds, and they may or may not be receptive to contemplating such a thing. It's like when your grandma says, you know, I know you're mad at me now, but you're not going to have me forever, and I'm just doing this for your own good because I love you so much. And you're like, yeah, whatever. And you know, and you don't feel it. You don't feel the love your grandmother is expressing there deeply enough. And it's tragic. I mean, it's a moment, you know, that you miss. It's like a movie, right? Every scene, every line is important, or it wouldn't be there. Some filmmakers do it well, and every line, every lighting setup, every sound mix, everything just fits the story and serves the story, and it's impactful, and it gets the job done. And you see the movie, it's 90 minutes or 2 hours of your life, and you're like, wow, that was a great experience. So, you know, when I was young and stressful things happened in the family, I used to sit and watch the argument from a self-imposed distance, and I would direct the film. You know, close up of this, long shot, establishing shot, get a picture of the finger tapping, or, you know, close up on the tear or something like that. You know, emphasize the yelling, dramatic music here, and it helped me deal with the stress of the moment, just becoming a film director at that moment. And you know, those moments where things are emotional and very intense become dilated. In other words, time becomes more expansive and slows down. I don't know, it's kind of like my conceptual theory of relativity or whatever, like time in an Einstein way, but not really. You know, it's just something, time dilates, and you focus in on it. For some reason, it remains in your memory. It's very strange. And I know memory's a ephemeral, hard to nail down subject, but certain things stay with me, and they're very vivid. I'm still a lucid dreamer. My dreams are scarily lucid. It's very bizarre and mysterious. But some of these memories stick with me, and they've always been there my whole life. And I can constantly access them and contemplate them and think about them, and it's very strange, you know. But I guess it has to do with the emotional salience and intensity of the moment. And I'm giving the doggies a chance to do their job. Good job, kids. Well done. So, yeah, those memories, I think it's the emotional quality of it, which is why we kind of tend to remember our first romance or things like that, episodes from here and there. Maybe your wedding day is very salient with you, even though you're 75 and you've been together for 60 years or whatever. Not 60. Oh, hello, how are you this morning? Bom dia, cavallo. Look at that beautiful little horsey. How are you, sweetheart? God damn. I just love cycling around and seeing a beautiful horse like that. Hey, sweet pea, you've got a stick on your back. What's that? What's that all about? Are you like customizing yourself to when your rider comes back? You were underneath this tree here, scratching yourself, and one of those twigs fell off and landed on your back? And it's still there. Cute pea. What a doll, man. He's a boy. Yeah, he's a young boy. Okay, buddy. You curious? Huh? Greetings. Bless you, my friend. Go back to the tree, get some more branches. Yeah, so I think that has, you know, it burns deep in your memory, those emotional experiences. And so when you go back on this little tour of your youth, and you encounter people you knew, I just think how profound that is, to have another day at that time, another moment, just a moment with those people, knowing what you know now. And would you say something, or would you just sit in awe and listen to them and try to experience and absorb their feelings and reality, what they're going through and all that? I mean, it's just incredibly profound. I want to go over there, which means I have to go back here and down that road, because I don't think it goes through here. I'm going to try that. Yeah, so I was just lying in bed trying to figure that out, and I think I would keep my mouth shut. And I would let my grandmother, my grandfather, my mother, my father, my friends, my ex-love, the one that broke my heart, I would just sit there and hopefully let them know that I cared and I was really listening to them, and I wanted to understand how they feel and to empathize with that. Because it's so important to do that, I think. Oh man, I don't know where I am now. Maybe I do want to go down there. I think I do. I don't want to go back the way I came. So, and I was just absorbing that with my memory, here I am painting my college girlfriend's kitchen in her new apartment, and I finish the job and she breaks up with me, and I literally cry. And she's sympathetic, but what can she do? She's not interested, and I have to deal with it. But before then, just being there and being more interested in her point of view, her perspective on it, not to interrogate her, like, why don't you like me? Like, I didn't do that, by the way. I just cried and said, I'm really sad about it, and it's okay, and goodbye. And I walked out. And it was sad, because I really did like her. Anyway, just be there and kind of just try to feel it. Because, it's not going to help to try to get it out of her. Maybe as adults, sometimes we can slow down and listen to our children or our friends a little bit more. So a friend of mine wrote to me over the New Year, and I still get the feeling that he's performing, right? So I'm going to write a really profound thing to my friend about how I am and who I am and how spiritual I am and this and that and the other thing. And, this is how I deconstructed my religion and so on and so forth. And this is how I feel about love and the universe. And it just reminds me of when we were young together in a pub or whatever. Hi, kid. How are you? And, having a beer with friends and talking, and everybody's performing, like, I know this, I read that, I did this, I do that. And it's just like this pissing contest where everybody's just performing. I did it, I was good at it. Look at me. Aren't I special? And we would compete like that, and we'd get jealous, and if we didn't get enough attention, our fair share at the meeting, it would sting a bit. Oh man, people are like that, aren't they? Aren't they like that? So I don't know. So anyhow, and I wrote back, and one thing I said was like, if It'd be nice to be back in those days, talking face to face, but performing less. You know, just being more real and more there for the people in our lives. Hi, kid. Don't worry. Don't worry. He did a good job, and thank God there wasn't a car coming. Oh, that would have killed me. He runs out barking at me and gets hit by a car. Shit. Lucky day for both of us. So, yeah, if I were back with my friend, I would, shut the fuck up and really try to feel the person without all the performative stuff. Look at me, aren't I great? Don't you love me? I love God. God loves me, 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 me. The me-evangelical thing. It's all about me. So, and I would, primarily be concerned for myself in that regard. Shut the fuck up. Listen to these people. Be here with them. Be present with them. Let them know they're important to you. Just by keeping your fucking mouth shut. That's what I would do on my tour. And sometimes, riding a bicycle and talking at the camera, I'm still trying to really be here on the bike, enjoying the view and imagining I'm talking to you and so on. And yeah, I'm performing. But, at my age now, when I'm with people, I'm still so talkative and gregarious and conversational, and sometimes I think I should just shut up and let the other people do what they got to do, And it's hard because I'm that type of person. I'm an outgoing, gregarious, talkative person. So it's difficult for me to shut the fuck up. Obviously, I wouldn't do this YouTube thing that nobody listens to. So I'm just indulging myself. I'm out here by myself on a bicycle, talking to myself. It's fucking absurd. But I think that, we live in a world full of performers strutting and fretting their hour on the stage type of thing. Everybody's performing. That's why our politicians are so idiotic and we don't like them. And we can see through it, but we don't know what's wrong exactly, but we see through it. It's like the smell test. It stinks. And yet we're drawn to it like moths to a flame. And we can't turn away. It's very, very bizarre how that works, but it does. We like the performers. We like the braggers. People who lie to your face and make you believe something. Turns us on. Gets our attention. Holds our attention. And somebody who's just there with you, maybe holding your hand when you're down, you appreciate it, but it's not the same. Those, like my aunt, once I was talking about, I'm going to write a book. And she said, well, we love you whether or not you write a book. Just remember that. And I do. That's one of my very lucid, clear memories. I'll never forget that. I know where it happened. I think I do anyway. But it's something I never forgot. It was meaningful. But at the time I remember thinking, yeah, well, I'm going to do it. Which is healthy, I guess. So that's the end of that experiment. Uh, as you get older and you're youthful, you want to hopefully, because you can slow down, because you do slow down. People who are dogmatic, set in their ways, narrow-minded, my empathy goes out to them, because it's a tough way to live. When not everyone conforms to your beliefs and it pisses you off, you know, how could everyone in the world be so stupid when me and mine are so smart? You know, it's like the guru syndrome. I mean, people coming up in the algorithms, people going down in the algorithms, struggling to remain relevant, keep the attention on them, keep the business going. It's such a struggle. Those people are opportunists. They're very plastic. They can change their point of view. You know, why I'm a cultural Christian, why I became a conservative, you know, whatever. Well, you did because you just want to stay the center of attention. But other people are dogmatic. It's like, you know, I'm a Benedictine monk, God damn it. That was kind of off color. But I believe this, I believe that, you know, MAGA till the day I die or whatever. There are proto-religious aspects to all of this, whether it's Marxism or any other ism. You have to hold your teachings lightly. I think a lot of ancient wisdom, whether from the West or the East, constantly talks about that. A lot of epistemic humility in their literature. Oh, another beautiful bird of prey up here in front of me. I don't know if you can see it, flying by the eucalyptus. So they tend to get it, the ancient wisdom people, and understand what's really relevant, what's really important, and how we really have to block all the noise out. And being, you know, a true believer is not a healthy thing. You know, there are things that you believe in, like trust. You trust that your spouse is faithful and cares for you and whatever. But you don't have to worry too much about that, because the actions show you that day in and day out. The little things that say, yeah, I can trust this person cares about me, and we take it for granted all the time. But, you know, the little things you do that are thoughtful and considerate with your partner in mind, and these things show us, they don't tell us, we don't have to believe them, they're demonstrably true, and that's a beautiful thing. And if we're, gotta be careful. If we're true believers, and get dogmatic and stubborn about it, we're just shutting the whole world off. It's really sad, really, really sad, in my opinion. And so maybe with people who are narrow-minded like that, you have to do the thing I'm talking about, which is just shut up, be present, be concerned, listen. And if they're too toxic, violent, evil, mean-spirited, you know, destructive, whatever, then you have to pull back and say, I just can't be around people like this. They're not good. And I wish I could help, but I can't, and let them go and move on. But if they have a lot of decency and care and consideration, they have a really positive side to them, then you can say, you know, their ideology doesn't matter that much. This person is a good person. And I can be there with them when they're freaking out over some stupid little thing and say, I mean, I hear you, I feel you're upset and all that kind of thing. And just kind of be there. And the person will say, you know, for a fucking pinko faggot, you're a pretty good guy. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. I'm glad you think so, man. That's great. Whoa. I have a feeling I didn't do this one before. But it's hard to tell. I'm not going to do that one. I want to go down. Isn't this nice, quiet little villages? So, even with a dogmatic, you know, stubborn geezer, you could probably just let them know that you're there, you're listening, and that, you know, hey, look, I'm not like you at all, but, you know, I have a feeling that some of my friends who share their visions of themselves with me, they're not interested in me at all, and I don't think they read what I write. If I write them a long letter, I think they scan it. Especially old friends that you've been close to. Sometimes the idea is that, you know, he still bugs me and I'm still better than him, and, you know, there is a hierarchy here and I'm at the top. And it makes you feel powerful to ignore somebody who's interested in you, who thinks they have a relationship with you and all that kind of thing. It's perverse, but it's true. I mean, people are like that. Call it pettiness, call it ego, whatever, egocentric. I don't know. But you get the feeling that, you know, when they write back the reply note that we're on the same page, different chapters or whatever kind of thing. They weren't really that interested in hearing you. And maybe you are talking about something else and something that they're not interested in. And so, you know, they can't hear it, which is fine. I mean, that's just the way it is. You just have to let it go, water off a duck, and again, be present and say, hey, I feel you, I'm here in case you need me. And don't take it too personally. I know that I'm not at all anything. I'm not all that at all. I have no reason to think I would be. And, you know, I'm just an insignificant little puff of wind. And when you get too much attention, you get captured by it and warped by it. And I think it's a kind of pathology. Human beings weren't built for that. I mean, we're just not supposed to be like that, in my opinion. So the social media thing is a very artificial, bizarre environment to be in. Whoa, look at that big, huge, like, almost looks like a monastery over there. Damn, I wish I knew what that was. So it's so weird to have all these virtual eyes on you and think that you're so important when you're absolutely not. And nothing you say has real impact on important things, other than the fact that people pay attention to you, and that's it. You know, what is Donald Trump going to do for the world? Absolutely nothing. What did Obama do? Absolutely nothing. So I just stepped on some toes there, but honestly, Jimmy Carter lived to be 100. He's gone. I think he tried to be a good person, which is the most anyone can do. I read a Chris Hedges article saying, you know, let's not worship him because he was all that. I mean, I've read enough to know that, you know, I don't know any president that I think did a good job, so, including Jimmy Carter, but that doesn't mean that he's not a good person. You know, I don't know him, but he seemed to be somebody who cared about people, and I appreciate that. And he must have been doing something right, because he and Rosalind lived long lives, and he was youthful. And his children and grandchildren seem like nice people, which tells me a little something about Jimmy Carter. So constantly, if I talk about Martin Luther King or anybody like that, somebody will push back on me and say, all the bad things they did. Yeah, well, we're all fuck-ups. We're all a mess. And so sometimes it's important just to be with somebody and say, it's okay, you're a fucking mess, but it's all right, man. We're all a mess. And you don't have to give the queer eye advice, the superficial thing. Like with these reality shows, the one thing I would do if I were a producer in the States is I would do a follow-up reality show where I went back to the people who lost weight, or the people who had a new house, their house made over, whatever that it is, in a week, and their life transformed. Oprah Winfrey gives you a car, and suddenly everything's beautiful, and you're crying, and the whole world's great. You win the lottery, that whole thing. And I'd follow up and say, how's it going? And I can imagine you walk in the house and it's trashed, and the guy's eating fast food again, and he's wearing a t-shirt with holes in it, hoarding. It didn't stick, man. I don't know why. Because disciplines and habits are hard to change, obviously. Very hard to change. And it requires constant practice. Hi, kid. Damn, I worry about people who let their dogs run out like that, because that car just went by. But anyhow, I've seen too many animals killed out and about riding, and it's just, I don't like it. Yeah, so the real thing is like, we're going to come into your life, we're going to make some quick changes, and then we're going to stick with you for a year and see if we can help you make them stick. And then we're going to recommend a cognitive behavioral psychologist or whatever you need that's evidence-based to follow through with you for the next 5 years. Of course, if all you need is like a 10K loan just to keep your head above water or something, then that's fine. That'll do the trick. But some people obviously need a lot more help than that, and our society doesn't provide it very well. If you have communities of extended friendships and relationships that are built to support the people of the community, because the community is so important, for many reasons. Like when we live in a lower energy economy, it's going to take time for the energy to run out, but it's going to dwindle and provide some stress over time. I don't know how many decades, but at some point it'll be like, we need these people. If you think about the process of making a corn tortilla and how that frees up niacin, nutrients in the corn because of the processing, when you cook, you're processing food, but sometimes if you process it in the time-tested traditional way, there's a reason why people keep eating it, because it's healthy. And if it poisoned the tribe, they wouldn't be eating it anymore. They'd all be dead, right? So, wow. It's just so fucking, like, where the hell am I, man? Where am I, man? Anyway, it's fun. So, like, I was reading something about why the entrance to the igloo is a certain way, and how that might have evolved, and people imitate something that works. Anyway, we'll all be like that. We'll be like, well, this time-tested thing actually does feed us and keep us healthy. And the process of doing it together builds social cohesion and whatnot and whatnot. And so we'll start to do these things again because they work. And, that's an argument for traditional processes and stuff. You'll have a mix of that, and new traditions come along all the time. And some of them obviously are healthier or better for us socially and individually than others. So there are some traditions that obviously new ones that might not be so good. And the world will have to sort that out, collectively in terms of different communities and how they do things, different cultures and how they do things. It'll never be a monoglot or whatever, monoculture. And different regions have different challenges and so on. This is culture, right? Anthropology, cultural anthropology. And it's a thing, folks. It's a real thing. So it always frustrates me, and I often snap. I get snappy with friends who are so cultural centric, chauvinistic, because you really can't learn anything from this other group. And some of my friends, they spent time in Japan and they didn't absorb shit. They were just an expat there working. And Japan just went in one ear and out the other. I mean, it would just, no impact whatsoever. And in fact, they have disdain for it. Another memory I have that's really stuck with me was this guy who was going to the dentist, had some problems with his teeth, and I guess his gums were receding because he was brushing with stiff brush, and it was making his teeth more sensitive. And that's a thing, that's a real thing. And a dentist would know this. But he was talking to me, telling me how stupid the Japanese dentists are. So first of all, you're generalizing. He got the advice that the guy said in as good in English as he could, too much brushing. And you have to use this brush, which is a soft bristle, and he was teaching him how to brush his teeth, and the guy was saying, that motherfucker, I know how to brush my goddamn teeth. Too much brushing. These people are idiots. It's I've met so many people like that. That's why I wrote that piece about Bob. They won't even listen to a dentist who's, professional. DDS, whatever they call it in Japan. And he just had disdain for the advice because it wasn't what he wanted to hear. He wanted to know if he needed a root canal or a tooth pulled or a cavity done or something. He was suffering. I've been there. I just listened to him and didn't say much, but it was like I didn't know what to think. It's like people at the table, it's like this American Psycho thing. They're all laughing, yeah, fucking they don't know shit. And I've been at that table too many times, and it always rubbed me the wrong way. The other day we were out in town walking around with some friends, and my partner was kind of arm in arm with my friend's partner and some black people. There's plenty of black people in Portugal. It's a small percentage per capita, but Portugal had a huge footprint. Portugal was Africa for a long time. They considered their colonial holdings to be Portugal. Anyway, we have black people here. We have migrant black, we have citizen black, we have black people. Why wouldn't we? We're right next to Africa. Anyway, people here don't seem at all bigoted or prejudiced, but I'm sure there are bigoted and prejudiced people. But most people, no. At least that's my impression. I don't know if it's true or not, but they were walking down the street and she saw 3 black people walking by. I didn't notice, but she, her friend pulled her close, like just a reflexive reaction of fear. I don't know the story behind it, her past and why she would have that reaction, but it kind of made my partner feel uncomfortable that she reacted that way. It's just like that. She felt that was odd, and it was uncomfortable because for some reason we just don't like racists at all. And you have to constantly observe yourself as well, because wow, this is a nice new zone for me. I gotta keep an eye on my battery. What am I doing here? So you have to look at yourself constantly and say, was that an appropriate reaction? Why was I afraid there? Why did I tense up? I pride myself in having some good street sense, like intuition. I kind of sense something's off and go the opposite direction and protect myself by avoiding trouble. The easiest way to protect yourself is to avoid trouble. Join my self-defense course. Wow, where the heck am I, bro? This is fun. I went in a different direction. I'm seeing new hills and stuff, and it's nice. Good feeling. So I recognize Benedita, and I have a feeling that if I go straight, I'm going to run into Santana Market. And that hill over there in the distance looks really interesting. But I'm not going to go there. So I don't want to run out of battery, so I'll just put a pin in that. And the reason I don't want to run out of battery is because of this. Going home, I have some steep hills. And so I'm going to put a pin in that, and I'm going to go there next time. And next time I'll mind my energy, use the battery a lot less, and get closer to that destination, the top of that hill over there. And then I can use the battery to make sure I can get up the hills going home. That's the way. Yeah, so you have to constantly observe yourself, your reactions, feedback to yourself, and say, is that appropriate? Because we all have these things kind of baked in, and we can deal with them or lessen their pernicious, nasty bits. But whew, this is cool too. I like this road. Goes down and up. That's nice. So yeah, it's like remaining a bit youthful and trying to understand how precious that is, because I'm not getting any younger at all. And so getting older is not too nice, because you don't have the capability to do things you were used to doing, and you have to be so thankful for every minute I know people who are in their late 80s and 90s, and they're still running around, getting on airplanes and stuff. And I'm amazed they have the energy to do that and the desire to do it, because quite frankly, I don't think I'm going to be traveling at all if I live that long, because traveling's, doesn't have the same. I don't feel it anymore, to be honest. It's like, oh, okay, another city, and flying is not fun anymore. The whole setup, to me, isn't fun like it used to be. It's no moral, ethical thing. It's not about climate change. It just isn't like it was. Look at those cabbages. The winter vegetables here, like already in my zone, the strawberries are planted, and it's January. Fruits and veggies, like you see all the orange trees. There's so many oranges, and honestly, if you don't pick them, they just rot and fall off, because there's so many, and some of them are abandoned kind of orphan trees, and people who have big orange trees can't eat or sell all of them, so they'll give you some if you ask. Yeah, so it's one of my friends is elderly, and he really hasn't changed much since his 50s. Still kind of stubborn in a bubble, and the internet didn't help, because if you're a curmudgeon, kind of a stubborn in your view, it's amazing how easily you can edit information to conform to your stubborn belief system. So whatever we talk about, he's always editing it so that it feels good to him and we don't have to argue. He can edit the whole experience and be comfortable, which is nice. At least we can get along. But now the internet comes along, and you can use that to confirm your stubborn beliefs. So it becomes a tool to keep you narrow-minded, keep you from growing. And I see that a lot, so it's so easy for people to avoid uncomfortable truths or information, data. And all you have to do is passionately, emphatically push back on factual information, and most people will resonate with the emotion over the information. The information might be complex, or it just doesn't feel right to the person. So they're not going to give it the time necessary to understand the information and all that. I just wonder if I'm talking to myself. Look at those roses. That's cute. I like that. I'm amazed that this is still going. I thought I would run out of the card by now. But anyway, I'm not advising or anything like that, like do this, do that, because people aren't interested in that really, unless you make yourself into this advisor character, put on a white coat, or whatever costume you need to don to be a guru. But I'm just sharing what I was thinking myself about these things. And I constantly, and I have for about 20 years, kicked myself. Slow down, man, slow down. Appreciate this. This is freaking unbelievably beautiful. And be there with this friend. Just be there with them. You know, share a moment and let them feel that you care. You know, I think that's a good practice, something we could all do more of. Oh, I like coming in from this direction. It's a cute little church. So I wonder in the future, when low energy future, if people are going to become religious again, what that'll look like. But I'm just hoping that it doesn't look like, you know, enmity and sectarian violence. It is true that, you know, the whole thing is just so violent, and the U.S. culture is just so violent. The violence fetish is so strong. And I don't know if we'll ever get out of that. You could say, yeah, but everything's peaceful. Like, look, I'm not seeing any violence today. It's very peaceful where I live, but overall, there's a kind of, broadly speaking, broadly defined violence against nature, against yourself, right? I mean, we're mean to ourselves even. People say, be good to yourself. And there's a reason people say that. Because sometimes we're not, and we're conditioned to have that response, reaction, feeling. I'm not getting all Gabor Mate on you or anything like that. Sometimes I think all of these perspectives can be very exaggerated, or can emphasize one thing too much when it's actually more complex. Like there's more than childhood trauma going on here. There's a whole lot of different things happening. Biochemical and psychological and sociological and all that stuff that is contributing to this negative image or whatever it is. Hatred, violence. But we've always been like this, and it's not changing. So it's still there to too great a degree. Now, when you go to Denmark and Holland and whatnot, it just seems so peaceful that it's obviously they have social problems, but it just on the surface of it seems like a cult. It's just so peaceful here. People are so nice, but it's bubbling in there, right? And we have to be vigilant and careful. We have to develop systems and structures and cultures that maintain the peace. And to do that, we have to listen more deeply and be more present in the moment. And of course, that isn't a silver bullet either. Meditation or whatever it is, your Mediterranean diet, whatever it is, it's not the whole picture. It's not a silver bullet. It's not a cure-all, panacea. There are lots of things going on that we need to pay more attention to. And that's all I'm saying. Look at this guy. Wow, you are a big goat, brah. Brah. Oh, girl. Look at the size of her. You're majestic. You're regal. Goat cheese. More important than ever. Good and good for you. So Otzi. Hola. Otzi was the Iceman they found. He had all these tools, utility belt, all kinds of stuff. He had a utility belt, and he had leggings and cloak and tools, knife and a knife sharpener, all this cool stuff. The shoes were really intricate, amazing. His cloak, or whatever you call it, his shirt, was made with multicolored strips of different hides. Sophisticated stuff. Long time ago, Otzi. And these people were like us in so many ways. And they knew how to do things. They knew how to survive. They thought that he probably smelted the copper for his axe because he had arsenic in his hair and in his something else. I don't know if it was the bone or something. Anyway, we know our arsenic is poison, but part of the smelting process, when you heat up the ore to get the copper out, you breathe arsenic. So anyway, this complex guy who lived in a low energy period, so his energy was caloric energy from food, and the food was from sunlight, and you know, the animals eat the plants. But anyway, back in those days, they had domestic animals. Obviously, we've had domestic animals for a long time, but they also had a lot of wild things. I hope the future is more wild. For me, it's a better future than Blade Runner. Capitalism will die. It's a self-terminating thing. What comes next is anybody's guess. You know, the road to serfdom. Are we slaves now or not? I don't know. Do you work for a totalitarian dictator at your business, in your cubicle? How much agency do you have? That kind of thing. So, let's see, they had their whole world going on, and that world was probably going on for ages. So one can imagine that the people back then just thought that this is the way things are and will always be. And now we have this progress thing where we think things are just going to get better and better in some way, you know, like cheaper and cheaper fashion and more storage units and better drugs for metabolic syndrome, because I'm going to eat fucking whatever I want, like a Roman you know, overlord. We're gonna create problems and we're gonna create fixes. We're gonna fuck up our planet, then we're gonna geoengineer it. Then we're gonna geoengineer Mars, become a multi-planet species. To me, all that's silly and kind of grotesque. So for me, progress happens in the heart and mind, heart metaphorically, mind metaphorically, and in our social relations, how we live together, and our quality of life, and the quality of our wisdom, and how we live within nature in an enlightened way. You know, slowing down, listening to that damn tree, absorbing the view, understanding how precious it is. You can think about how animists might have felt. Was Otzi an animist? Did he worship nature? You know, I don't know. I don't think Otzi had big gods, right? Everything was spiritual, maybe. I don't know. But I don't think Otzi was thinking about the big God who wrote the book on tablets and told everybody how to be, what to eat. And you know, you have libertarians, progressive libertarians, just let people do what they want to do and they'll sort everything out because we're all that, man. We're fucking geniuses. I think I could take all the Bobs, the narrow-minded, chauvinistic, bigoted, tough guys, digitize their fucking mind, stick it on a next generation SSD drive, shove it in one of Elon Musk's starships, fly that damn thing to Mars, put it in a vault deep underground where the servers are, maintained by robots, AI robots. Let them live in their fucking sim and do whatever the fuck they want. I don't know if we're alone in the universe, but this place is pretty damn special, and life begets life, and I think that's fucking important and precious, and people who can't understand that, I think, are sick. So let all the Bobs go off to the damn server, their metaverse, and do whatever the heck they want there. Take their violence and their anger and their conquest and their infinite growth. You don't understand, in my digital world where the robots are just making more and more servers day in and day out, more memory, you know, I can basically do anything. So I can eat pizza every day, all day, fight hundreds of billions of armies for eons and eons, and kotas like some Hindu scripture on steroids. And I can push reset every time I get killed and just start over again. I never wear the same outfit twice. And if you don't get the value in that, you're just a dweeb, a loser. I'm gonna die. I'm youthful now, but I'm gonna wear the fuck out. I don't know if I'm gonna have to do something to speed along my death for some reason. I really don't know. But there's no doubt I'm gonna freaking die. And I think that's fine. And the only comfort I have is imagining that there's a world like this for another idiot like me to experience. You know, look at the goat. Look at the red-tailed hawk and just think that it's awesome. And imagine going back and talking to your ex-girlfriend and keeping your mouth shut and just letting her be her for a minute. Being a tad bit more thankful. and imagining the kinds of animals and plants that there will be in another million years. It's just, that's what really makes me feel good. So if you're writing a futuristic story and you can make it whatever you want, just like in the metaverse, but it's coming out of your meat brain and your imperfect body with its imperfect microbiome. And you're saying, look, man, this is what I imagine, and it's pretty freaking interesting to me. This is the thing. And the idea that your grandchildren could experience something nice, not my thing, but their thing, have that moment of awkwardness growing up, first love, broken heart, anger at your parents, trauma, overcoming trauma, all these things we do. And at the same time having those moments at the lake or where you caught the trout or whatever little thing makes you happy. And when that time dilates and slows down and imprints itself in your memory and makes you feel something profound and so alive, so vital, that it seems like it's a forever thing. To experience that, that's what I want for the future. All right, I'll shut up now. Uli MT, out. So I was talking for quite a while there about my thought experiment, and I was thinking of a clickbaity title to put on it. How about Live Forever? Well, I had one in my head. Live forever. Staying forever young across the ages. No, that's too much. Live forever. Thoughts about staying forever young. Something like that. I'll have to think about it. I never think about these titles. I gotta start putting some clickbait up there. See if I can get some attention. So I had to turn the camera back on. Finally, the other one ran out. So I like donkeys. And this is a beautiful donkey. Oh, look at that face. What a nice little bunch of twigs to chew on out of an old bathtub. That is a gorgeous donkey. I love donkeys.